It takes so long to get to the part that I wanted to. That didn't work out at all.
That's what this show
We're going
is
to
all
pretend
about.
I didn't do that. What?
So that's what this show is all about. Failed pranks or shit that takes too long.
Hang on. We're going to a different one.
All right. From the top.
Come on, man. And with the
It might be too loud. It's cutting out.
But tonight, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Now Available, the internet's only streaming service podcast. I'm Adam Howard, and with me, as always, boy wonder, Rikki Ettinger. How's it going, Rikki?
I do appreciate the joke or the moniker, even though I'm older than you. So you would be the boy sidekick or boy wonder. That's great. I love that.
Yeah, that's true.
We are. We're back. It's a brand new year. New year, new me is what I always say. No one ever says that but me. And we're gonna pick it back up where we left off. And we're just gonna do it. You know what I mean? We're just gonna do it.
Yeah, we're back with episode 10 of Now Available. It's been a long time coming.
Dude, okay, so yeah, behind the scenes. So we did the Halloween episode, and as I went to go look at it, it's all fucked up. Like it played like the first 2 seconds where it was like a nice video, and then it would freeze. You would hear our voice, and then the voice would freeze, and then the video would come back for a second, and it would just change, change a picture, and then that video in total should have been a little bit over an hour, and there was only 6 minutes that had recorded. Yes, dude, it was terrible. I felt so bad. But I mean,
but it is what it is.
Yeah,
we're coming back. We're making it up with a 3-movie spectacular.
A new year end of the year, new year, spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Hell yeah, dude. No, I'm glad to be back doing it. This is a bright spot in my week. I don't really do now. Okay, so now that I'm done with school, I'm working again, but we're only part-time. So I have nothing but time to sit around and watch movies and not do.
Dude, I'm in the same spot. Yeah. I'm in the same exact spot.
That's literally all there is to do. All the stuff that I would normally do has been gone for almost a year now. And then on top of that, I get done at noon. So everyone that I would hang out with or do stuff with is still at work.
We'll just have to start a daily show now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Could you imagine?
Dude, just stream it on Twitch at 12:30 in the afternoon.
If it's a 5-minute long show every day.
That'll be our new shows. We'll do a daily show.
Yeah. What did you watch last night? The Daily Show, and it's just, I watched Doom again, and then then it ends.
Doom. Which Doom did you watch? The Rock one?
Oh yeah, of course. I put that one on. I put that on all the time. That might be my most watched movie right now. Okay, so my thing is I try to watch a movie before I go to bed, but what I'll do is I'll put a timer on it so it turns off. I'll fall asleep during it, and I plan ahead so that I can fall asleep to it. So I don't put on something that's I don't know, important really. But Doom is really dark too, so I'll turn the brightness down on my TV. I'll turn that on. It's already dark. I don't feel bad about falling asleep while it's on. Rinse and repeat.
That's fair.
That's my whole swag. Yep. What have you been up to? What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Obviously, the movies we're going to talk about today I've been watching. Outside of that, I watched this weird movie over our time that we've been off. Called it was a Netflix movie. Maybe we'll spin it, but it was called like Ghosts of Girlfriends Past or whatever. And it's basically a Christmas Carol, except it stars Matthew McConaughey.
Yes,
and it's about how he's a playboy and how he screwed up this one relationship and yada yada yada. And it's just a weird movie, but it's also Matthew McConaughey, so it's pretty funny.
I think he has like that's not the one where he has blonde hair, right? Like streaky blonde hair, or is that I'm thinking of Made in Manhattan.
I don't think he has streaky blonde hair. I don't think so.
I feel like he was in a lot of those like rom-com movies.
Yeah, he was in that. He was in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. He was in, I think there's another one on Netflix called like The Wedding Planner or something.
Yeah, that with what's her name? No, wait, is it? Yeah, that's the one with J-Lo. I almost got it confused with The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler.
That would be interesting having that be the case. But I actually, speaking of Adam Sandler, I had a weird thought. So
Okay.
over break, I fell down a little bit of a rabbit hole watching old SNL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this one sketch called, it's like Hermere Boys or something like that. It's got Adam Sandler and Chris Farley in it.
Ooh.
And Adam Sandler's got a blonde wig on. And like the whole time I'm watching it, all I'm thinking of is like if they did like, so if a corporate studio came up with Jay and Silent Bob, Adam Sandler and Chris Farley would make a great Jay and Silent Bob if they were like,
oh, cool.
If they were like doing it through a big budget lens where some studio exec came up with that idea, then I think that would be a perfect casting, especially like for that time and stuff like that too.
That's a really cool thought.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, they would have been really good together.
That's so funny. I would have never thought of something like that. Like the idea of, a set character being so-and-so's thing. What if it were, some big wig that came up with that idea instead?
Mm-hmm.
Like Wayne's World, like Wayne and Garth. Like imagine if they would, instead of that being an SNL thing from Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, if the Weinstein company came up with that idea, who would they cast?
Yeah, I wonder who they would cast for that.
Shit.
Imagine
Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
No, it'd probably be Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Holy
but
shit,
I think
that'd be awesome.
It would have been funny. I had a crazy thought, and it would have been funny if they did Wayne's World and Wayne was played by Jack Nicholson.
Ew! Wait. But would Garth be Dana Carvey, or would it be somebody else? Would Garth be Dana Carvey?
I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead. All I thought of was the particular cadence Jack Nicholson has, but doing that as Wayne.
Ew. Ew, that's so gross.
Garth would be played by Shelley Duvall.
What the fuck? Wow. What a fan casting for 2021's Wayne's World. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. What the fuck? That's
Gosh.
awesome. Have you watched any shows? Did you get into any any kind of TV? Anything on streaming services you get into?
I'm trying to think. There hasn't really been any TV shows I've been watching too closely recently. Well, me and my fiance, we watched Gilmore Girls, so that was one thing. But other than that, that's pretty much the only show I've watched. I did watch a show. I just remembered I did watch a show. I finished Clone Wars.
Oh,
that was really good.
Yeah.
The last season was okay, but the last 4 episodes are incredible because they take place basically at the same time as episode 3 does.
Mm-hmm.
But they featured Darth Maul on Mandalore with Ahsoka, and her story of what happens during the Clone Wars and stuff like that, or like during when episode 3 takes place. So it's pretty cool.
That's dope. I always wanted to watch those shows. Like same thing with like Rebels. I always tried to get into it, but I can't. Like I feel like there's too much. You know what I mean? And I don't want to have to sit through 5 seasons of the show for it to get good or something.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Is I like just kind of like gritted my teeth and made it through. But honestly, you can pretty much watch like the last 4 episodes or so and be fine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or just search Darth Maul Clone Wars and just watch all of that. You'll be fine.
That's sick. I'm like I was like in between shows. Like I restarted New Girl and I got to like season 5 and then I just completely fell off of it. Same thing with Psych. I had gotten all the way to like the last season and then I just fell off of it. But I did watch all of Cobra Kai in like one day. Like,
do you mean like the whole series or
yeah,
the whole 3rd season?
The whole series. I put it on in the morning, like I was playing Warcraft, so that's what I got back into, really, like hard, because I've had so much time off. It's like I'll come home and it's either go back to sleep or sit around. So I started playing Warcraft again. So I'll just fucking sit here and grind it out. But I put it on the one day, like in the morning. I think it was last weekend. It was like last Thursday or not. Well, I guess that's not the weekend, but whatever. I put it on in the morning, and I was like paying more attention to that than I was to Warcraft. So I just turned off Warcraft and I just sat here and watched it all. And then I was like, I was so stoked. I was like, holy shit, this is so fucking good. And then literally like, it was like the next day that they put out season 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I just burned through that too. But it's a fucking good ass show.
I just remembered, because you're like, I burned through that whole show in one day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I watched season 4 of Big Mouth. I think it was season 4. Yeah, it was season 4. I watched all that. It was pretty funny.
Fucking big. Dude, the cast at Big Mouth is great. Like, I love all of those fucking people so much.
Yeah, they're awesome. John Mulaney, Nick Kroll, Andrew Reynolds, Jesse something, I forget her last name. But this season they had Zach Galifianakis and Sterling K. Brown on it, and Paul Giamatti.
Fucking Paul Giamatti, incredible.
There was more people, but I don't remember any of these.
My main dude, and I wish it sucks. So I really like Jason Mantzoukas. He's what's his name? I can't even think of his name on the fucking show.
Jay,
yeah. He's on Comedy Bang Bang, which is like a podcast I listen to every week. He's on there like a lot, but I can't ever be like on Twitter. You know, you can like, hey, I really liked you in this or whatever, or like, hey, you fucking suck at Patton Oswalt or whatever. He doesn't fucking use any social media, so there's no way that I can connect with Jason Mantzoukas.
Just have to go to his house.
Yeah, Jason Mantzoukas, if you're watching, I love you so much. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah. So last time we were in the good old now available podcast arena, we spun for The Runner with Nicolas Cage on Netflix, and we never got around to it. So now we're getting around to it.
This is what's so cool. Like I like listening to podcasts like that are very consistent, but also like it's cool that somebody that does listen, like that was listening frequently or something, will see like this huge gap in time, and then they turn it back on and it's the exact same shit. Nothing's changed. We still had problems when we were setting it up in the beginning. Like I love that. That's what consistency is all about.
Yeah, we're consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had I'd randomly check like our web, like where our like statistics are tracked and stuff like that. We had like 20 listens over like the time we didn't record anything or something like that.
Oh, cool! We got new people.
I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
I think what I kind of lose sight of when I'm listening to podcasts is like those people, that's like their job for the most part, right? Like people that consistently are making podcasts are trying to be paid for it or put out like a very professional, well polished thing. Like we're just two fucking dudes. That's it. Like this is as real as it's gonna get. You know what I mean?
Right.
This isn't a
Right.
facade. This isn't a for a job. We're doing this out of the love of movies.
Yeah. Maybe someday, Ryan Reynolds, you want to pay us to
Mint Mobile
produce this podcast?
Let's see who we got on.
Now available, presented by Mint Mobile and Aviation Gin.
We got
and the commercial with Ryan Reynolds in it where he's the devil.
Commercial where he's the devil? What's that one?
Isn't he in a it's for a dating site where it's 2020 and the devil hook up in a commercial or whatever?
That's supposed to be Ryan Reynolds?
I think it's Ryan Reynolds playing that person because I remember seeing stuff like that on his social.
I think okay, so I saw that commercial. Yeah, and he's got the giant horns. That is the same like horn costume from Legend, that movie with Tom Cruise from back in the day, where it was Tim Curry. So I just always imagined that it was Tim Curry, which I love. But if it's Ryan Reynolds, I love it even more.
I'm pretty sure it's Ryan Reynolds. I'm 95% sure.
Damn, I'm gonna have to get like a big ass bottle of Aviation Gin right here.
Yeah, just
just a humongous bottle of it.
yeah, and then you'll just on the side of your face, you'll just have to get the Mint Mobile Fox tattooed on there.
Yeah, or I'll put Mint Mobile, presented by Mint Mobile. I'm on the phone with them right now, and then I got my giant Aviation Gin thing. Who was our other sponsor? Jason Mantzoukas, of course. And
just Jason Mantzoukas.
And yeah, just him.
JasonMantzoukas.com.
The only
I feel
social
like
platform.
I feel like the issue with him having or if he has JasonMantzoukas.com is nobody's gonna know how to spell Mantzoukas.
Yeah, it's such a fucking bizarre spelling.
He'll just have to have every like variation that somebody can think of and have it redirect to the right website.
I think I did talk about whitehouse.com before.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. All those old school phishing sites. Oops. That's good.
Yeah. So The Runner. I've got a couple notes on The Runner. So it was directed by Austin Stark, which it was his feature debut as a director. It was released on August 7th, 2015, a budget of $4 million. And guess the box office of this movie.
$4 million fucking $25.
You're close. It's $20,061.
Wow. Yikes.
It stars Nicolas Cage and Sarah Paulson. And I thought this movie was based on a true story while I was watching it, but I was looking it up and apparently it's not.
Really?
It's based off of like different politicians and stuff like that. I didn't see anything like I searched the politician's name that Nicolas Cage plays. I forget the actual name. But it just came a movie.
Shit.
So I don't even think it's a real thing. But the movie it takes place in the aftermath of the 2010 BP oil spill. An idealistic but flawed politician is forced to confront his dysfunctional life after his career is destroyed in a sex scandal. And my biggest takeaway from the movie is I feel it's technically competent, but it's not entertaining.
Yeah. So I watched that movie like maybe 4 times. Which fucking sucks, dude. Okay, the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I get it. But then I think when we were going to record it, we had pushed it back a week or something. So I was like, oh, I better watch it again just to like, make sure I got everything that I needed from it. Because I just didn't like it. And then I think something happened. Either I fell asleep during it or we pushed it again. But I had watched it several more times. And each time I was just like, I can't believe I'm rewatching this. Like, it sucks. It sucks so bad.
The thing I appreciate about it is at least it's like technically competent and like all the color grading lines up and stuff like that. There's no like obscene shots. The editing's not awful and different things like that. That I can appreciate. Like that it's well refined enough to where it's not like Catherine Upside Down where we're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
like this crazy mess of stuff. It's just that it, for the most part, it's just kind of this mundane story that's not really like, you don't really care about the main character. You don't really care what he's doing or what's happening or anything like that. You're mainly watching it because it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. I have the picture up of the poster, and on the poster it's Nicolas Cage and he's got a suit on and he looks like Nicolas Cage and it says The Runner, right? But behind him is this giant explosion.
There's an explosion behind him on the poster.
And it's like Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage, and there's this big ass oil like rig and like on fire. So when you go if you see this poster and you go into the movie being like, oh, it's like an action movie, we know Nicolas Cage, he's like fucking crazy, and I can't imagine what this is gonna be. And you get this slow ass like drama that has nothing to do with with explosions or anything. That's a good one. Yeah, like it's just, I don't know. It's so misleading. Like, okay, so the BP oil spill was like that was the one thing I did like, was like that whole beginning part where he's like, you know, giving that speech about how like, you know, we need to come together as people and we need help from yada 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 to clean this shit up.
Yeah, the beginning is really cool because it's like a documentary style thing where it's going through and doing all this stuff, and I think that's really where the movie like sticks its landing, is in that beginning part. But then it kind of just evolves from there into this mundane kind of played out politician story of somebody getting disgraced because of a sex scandal, yada yada yada. Like we've been seeing this movie since before Citizen Kane came out.
Mm-hmm.
So like we've seen this general story, and we've seen it told more interestingly than it appears in this film.
Yeah, devolve is a great word for it, because it does start off so strong, and it's like, oh, this could actually be really cool. Like, how is he going to help these people? And then it turns into just some stupid, oh, he's cheating on his wife thing, and it kind of like, even like, so I think one of my main issues with it was like her motivation, because there's a scene where they show the video of him kissing that other girl on the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like pissed off at him, but then she's like not, and she's like, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to like save your career, sort of thing?
Yeah, she's more worried with her career than her personal life and stuff like that, and her relationship with her husband. Like she's like politically motivated and like financially motivated and stuff like that.
It was really weird to me. That I thought that was weird, and the the misuse of Sarah Paulson. I think she's great, but in the movie, she's just so, I don't know, like, what's her whole point, right? She shows up to like hang out with him for the weekend, and then she's gone.
Yeah, like I think like she does a really good job in her performance. She's just not given much to work with.
They're just like, here you go, be Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, but honestly, for a first-time director, I think like it's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah,
but like you can obviously see there is potential from Austin Stark with the way how the movie starts out and everything like that, and where it goes from there. Mm-hmm. It's just the story itself isn't the strongest, but like the filmmaking technique and stuff like that is there. It's just not to its full potential, I think.
We should have a separate category for first-time directors, because it is hard to be like, oh, they did a shitty job when like that's their first time. You know what I mean? Like, what if his second movie is something incredible, or what if Catherine Upside Down 2 is like Catherine Right Side Up. That's I could not fucking think of it. I was like, I know there's a fucking word for this. Yeah, right side up. If that one is like, amazing.
Yeah, I definitely don't like to just crap all over people, and I think you're kind of the same way
Yeah,
for the most part, anyways.
for the most part,
Where,
yeah.
where it's like, they're definitely. I think there is something that can be appreciated about this film, and that it's a first time director that got kind of this budget and stuff like that, and decided to tell this story.
Yeah.
I just think the way it was implemented, there were some little trip ups and stuff like that, but yeah, I think definitely this person has potential to do great things next. It just honestly is practice and practice and practice. That's what it comes down to.
I wonder how do you go to a studio or somewhere and be like, I'm asking for $4 million for this movie, right? Or is it like, do they reach out to that person and go, hey, we saw you made a 5-minute short. Here's $4 million and go make your movie.
Yeah, I think it can go either way. I can't remember if he wrote the story or not, but I saw that like they wrote the script and then they approached Nicolas Cage with it, and then Nicolas Cage joined on, and then I think that's how it got made for the amount of money it did. But honestly, there's many different ways it can happen. Like I know with like Ex Machina and stuff like that, the way that was made was the director was like a cinematographer for like 15 years or something like that, and he wanted to make his own movie, and so he was able to get the budget and made this small little movie that's really great.
Yeah.
So there's different ways you can fall into it, really.
That's pretty dope.
I just got to figure out one I can.
Same, dude. I know. I'm kind of like working on a secret project between you and me. And I kind of like okay, so I'll tell you what it is. So so over the kind of like the break, I was kind of like looking into like my family's like history, because I don't really know too much about like so my mom was adopted. I don't really know too much about like, where her mother or so and so comes from. So I've been kind of digging into that, and I recently found out that my great uncle, this man named Bruce King, who passed away last year, was like this very like prolific Native American artist, and like he made these like giant oil paintings of like these different like Native American scenes and shit, and they're incredible. And so I've been kind of getting in touch with my great aunt like about him and stuff, and I want to go to. They're in Santa Fe, so it's like I'm thinking about making like a documentary of me driving down there, and kind of making like different stops at various like Native American centric places.
Right.
So I've been like really trying to figure out how I can make it work.
You need a camera guy. I'm always down.
Yeah, I would like. So my issue with it is I don't have like a problem, right? Like, what's the problem in the story? It's like it's just gonna be me driving from point A to point B. It would be one thing if like my tire exploded, or if I like planned it. Like if I planned to run into these problems, how do I make that an interesting story versus like a dash cam footage of I got 20-minute time lapse of me driving. So I'm still kind of trying to figure it out, but
it could almost be like the historical kind of issues and stuff like that too. It doesn't have to be like a present thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know too much to kind of be like,
I don't know.
Hey, Ricky, do this. There you go.
Yeah.
But that's always the way you could approach it too, is kind of like from almost like a historical kind of background.
That's actually not a bad idea either. But so here's what I'm hoping. I make this thing and it only costs me gas money or whatever, $300, whatever. I sell it to Amazon for $50 million. and then I'd, that's it.
I think that's everybody's kind of goal is to do that sort of thing. Not even gonna lie to you.
What are you talking about? I'm the only one that has that dream. Nobody else has that dream.
Yeah, I want to sell my project to Netflix for $51 million.
You son of
Completely
a
different
bitch.
ideas.
$1 more million than what I sell mine for. That's fucked up. Yeah.
So you know the movie Palm Springs that came to Hulu?
Yeah, great movie.
This is the most expensive project bought from Sundance, like a project at Sundance, and they pay and like Hulu pay like they got the record by paying like $1 more or something crazy like that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, it was 22 million $1 or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 10 million or something, like $10,601, something weird like that.
That's funny. And awesome. All right, do you want to rank The Runner right now or finish the other one, the other two?
I think we rank The Runner now and then go through it.
Okay.
I just have one more comment I want to make, and that's on Nicolas Cage's performance, because with his accent, he goes between Nicolas Cage, JFK, and Louisiana accent throughout the whole film. He just shifts between the three of those.
I do remember that. In the beginning, it's very heavy. And then it's like, by the time you get to that scene where it's him kissing the girl, it's gone. Which is like the next scene that you get.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks is that you lose that kind of through line with him being through those three different things.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll be a politician. I'll sound like JFK, but I'm also from Louisiana, so I'll sound like that. But I'm also Nicolas Cage, so that's gonna come in there somewhere.
If he could,
the director's like,
if
you're Nicolas Cage, do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone knows who Nick Cage is, and they know his antics, and they know how he is, so what if instead of casting him as Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, it's Nick Cage Ghost Rider, right? He just plays himself in everything that he does.
It's just Nicolas Cage who gets turned into Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it's the story of Ghost Rider, except for instead of it being the fictional character, it's Nick Cage gets turned into Ghost Rider. Nick Cage is Louisiana attorney or whatever the fuck he is. Yeah. When he stars in my movie, that's what he's gonna be.
Yeah, we've got Disney Plus. You can write that check out to Ricky and Adam. It's now available.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Write that check right now. All right, yeah. So let's put.
Now you got something to make after WandaVision.
Ooh.
Or not Wanda? Is it WandaVision?
WandaVision comes out like next week.
Next Friday. It's right around the corner.
I can't wait, dude.
First MCU thing in over a year.
I can't wait.
It's crazy to think about.
All right, let's put this bad boy on the list. What are we looking at?
Okay, so let me get this pulled up. I figure what we can do is we'll put The Runner into the 2020 now available list, and that will complete the 2020 list of films, and then we get to start up with the new year with the next two films after that.
Oh, good idea.
So, as it stands right now, for now available, the year 2020, which this will be the last film we rank on it, so we'll have 10 films for this year. We start at number 1 with Clue, number 2, Haunted Mansion, number 3, Labyrinth, number 4, Scoob, number 5, Prince of Persia, number 6, Taxi Driver, number 7, White Mile, number 8, Conan the Barbarian, and number 9, Catherine Upside Down. Now, Ricky, where would you like to put The Runner on this list?
I believe that Nick Cage as the runner, the titular runner, should... Oh, that was the other thing. So he runs in the movie, right? He jogs like 2 times.
I don't even know where the name The Runner comes from.
Yeah, it's... whatever. He is a titular runner. I would put him between Conan and Catherine.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I wasn't sure if we should put it high or not, but I think I think if the whole movie was like the beginning, it'd be a lot higher.
Yeah.
But I think with the way the final project is, I think right at number 9 would be where it should go.
Yeah, I think that's the good one because like Catherine is just like not my movie, not for me. Conan is up there. I think that's a good middle because there are parts that I like and there's parts that I absolutely do not like.
Yeah. So The Runner is at number 9. And also, I forgot to make the graphic for this, but where does this movie rank on the Netflix list? Because at number 1 currently we have Taxi Driver, and that's it.
That's it. We went 10 weeks and we watched one Netflix movie.
Well, I think it's because half of the shows we did were the weird random Halloween hijinks.
Oh,
thing.
Halloween hijinks! Yeah, who could forget? So I would put it number 2.
Yeah.
Put it number 1.
So The Runner at number 2, under Taxi Driver. Now we have. Once I can pull it up. I don't think I opened my graphic up earlier, so I have to reopen up my graphic. I'm knocking everything everywhere.
All right.
So now we've got the all-time now available list of it's basically the same thing that we just did.
Yeah.
So do we want to put The Runner at the same spot we've got it here?
Yeah, we can keep it at number 9.
Number 9, The Runner. Cool. Let's see. Just got to put it on the master list. We're good to go. It has been solidified that is our next movie. Now, do we want to spin first, or do we want to go into our other movies first? I feel like we should spin first and give spoiler alerts about the other thing.
Yeah, we can do that because who knows if someone hasn't seen. Yeah, we should do that.
Okay, so for those of you it's your first time here, us at Now Available, except for the next 2 movies, we spin a wheel. We determine what movie we're watching next. We figure New Year we'll start back up at Netflix and go through our rotation. And we're going to spin before we do talk about Wonder Woman 1984 and before we talk about Tenet. We're talking about Wonder Woman 1984 first. So if you have an HBO Max subscription, go watch that and come back and listen to us. If not, then go to the theater. Saw it where I saw it. And then after that, we're going to talk about Tenet, which has been out longer, but probably now many people have seen it because they have to actually pay for it. So that being said, we're going to go to our lucky wheel and see what movie we're watching for next week. Now let's go to Netflix Roulette. We'll go live with it. Okay, Ricky.
Do it live. Are we doing 3?
3 spins.
And then we'll pick which one if we get 2 shitty ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Basic Instinct.
Wow, I just watched this again actually. That's awesome.
So we might do that one.
Okay.
Let's see. Pretty Little Stalker.
Pretty Little Stalker.
A self-help writer and her family become the target of a troubled girl.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
And The Polar Express.
Polar Express.
Now, Ricky, what do you think? We got Basic Instinct, we got Pretty Little Stalker, and we got The Polar Express.
My 2 are between obviously the first 2. I did just watch Basic Instinct probably a week ago. I caught it when it was on TV.
I feel like we should go with Basic Instinct.
Yeah, why don't we start off with one that we know is tried and true, and it's good.
I've actually never seen Basic Instinct.
Oh, really? It's cool. It's very sexually charged, I guess. But it's a good movie. Yeah, I'm good with Basic Instinct.
Yeah, so next week we're starting the new year after this episode with Basic Instinct on Netflix. So those of you who didn't cancel your Netflix subscription because they took The Office off, feel free to watch along with us and then listen next week. But we are, like I said, going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984 and Tenet, full spoiler reviews. So if you haven't seen those, come back later and listen to them. Or if you don't care to see either of them, you can listen now. So anyways, first we're going to get into Wonder Woman 1984 because that is on HBO Max, and that can fall onto our HBO Max ranking list. And I got to flip my notes over.
Show notes.
So Wonder Woman 1984, directed by Patty Jenkins, released on December 25th, 2020, both in theaters and on HBO Max. There was a budget of $200 million. And when I looked up the box office, it had a box office of $118.2 million. Not sure how that's broken down, but that was what whatever website I looked up told me. It stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig. So, Ricky, what did you think about the movie Wonder Woman 1984, the sequel to, was it 2017's Wonder Woman?
I think
it was 2017.
Yeah. I liked it. I know that there a lot of discourse on how it was it wasn't as good as the first one, which I agree with. It was kind of long and like I think it was a little longer than it should have been. Totally agree with that. There was a lot
Yeah.
There was like a lot of people weren't like okay with how like Egyptians were like portrayed as like, oh, this is we just need a brown bad guy in the movie.
But he's not even the bad guy.
Yeah. I thought so when I first watched it, I was like, okay, I the beginning part I get it, like whatever. But then immediately when she's in the mall and she's fighting those like bank robber guys, I took it as this is a campy like homage to the show, right? Like I thought that that's what it was trying to be, and that it wasn't going to be like, you know, dark and serious or, you know, like the other DCEU movies. And so that kind of
until it does get dark and serious.
Yeah, so that kind of like I went in with that mindset that this is supposed to be like the show and it's supposed to be, you know, campy or whatever. But overall, as a whole thing, I enjoyed it. I thought Kristen Wiig was like incredible. Up until the cats part, I thought she was awesome.
I even think that part looked cool.
Yeah,
honestly,
it looked cool, but it was such a like it's such a pivot. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because she wouldn't have gotten a second wish, and I don't know how she would have gotten turned into a cat without a second wish. But yeah,
it also seems so specific too. If I were to say I want to be an apex predator, wouldn't that mean I want to be the apex predator of my species, not changed into a cat?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah.
Because I think it would have been really cool had she come out with, you know, she's wearing that same, the same outfit that she had on, or like if she had like a leopard or a cheetah print jacket or something, and she just came
had
out
that
like super buff, right? Like or like really tall and really buff, like that would be cool. I'm also limits, I guess, but they turned her into a cat, so
yeah,
nothing's off limits.
Yeah, you said apex predator of her species, and all I started thinking about is, I don't know if you're a wrestling person, but all I thought about was her turning into Randy Orton, because that's one of his nicknames, the apex predator.
Yeah,
for just all the tattoos and everything like that, just giving RKOs everywhere.
Yeah, that's why she could have been just like a really buff version of herself, like a super strong, but she looks, you know, like super mean and super buff. That would have been cool too, but whatever. I think that the costume design, like that thing, like the whole costuming, that was probably my favorite part. They could put Gal Gadot in whatever. They could put her in a fucking garbage can, and somehow she's gonna make it look incredible. The
Sesame Street live action movie.
Yeah, like, dude, she looks great in anything, and it's, I don't know, that's a fucking talent. I think like that's incredible.
Yeah, I agree with you. The costuming's awesome in this movie.
What else? Oh, Pedro Pascal. I thought he was awesome too.
He was incredible
Oh.
as Maxwell Lord. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, is him just chewing the scenery.
Mm-hmm. He's fucking nuts. Like the energy and like just his motivation and like I don't know. He doesn't feel like a traditional bad guy. And like you kind of want him, you're kind of okay with the shit he's doing, right? Like he has like a failed well, at least I did. He has like a failed business, and he's kind of let other people down, but he's gonna use that to kind of right his wrongs, but also give that person what they want because they're wishing for whatever it is. Well, some people at least, because there's some other people where he kind of like tricks them.
Yeah, I think his whole story is really incredible, and I think it's interesting that they chose to kind of go with a villain that's not like a punch like villain where you beat them up to win and different things like that, where you have to appeal to their humanity, which you don't get too often in superhero movies, because usually with Marvel stuff it's beat them up, try to fight them, defeat them, and that sort of thing. And DC, even to an extent, the rest of the DCU is kind of like that. Even the first Wonder movies like that, where they have to fight Ares, I think it is. Because I think honestly, Pedro Pascal is probably the best DCEU villain in my opinion. I really like Black Manta and Ocean Master and Aquaman, but I think Pedro Pascal, just with the way he is and how different he is, I think it's a nice change of speed. Even though we still get Cheetah, and for whatever reason, it seems when superhero movies give you two villains, the more villains a superhero movie has, the less of the quality, generally speaking. What do you think about it? Because I remember thinking that as a kid, is like there are movies with two villains and it kind of gets more muddled. But I think Pedro Pascal is awesome in this movie. I think I agree with what you said. The movies, like the costuming and the time period, is pretty cool, but it is campy and it does almost feel kind of, the way I thought of it is almost as a costume party rather than like a direct period piece.
Oh, okay.
With how, because some of the costumes seem a little over the top, which I know is what the 80s looked like. But I think the one dude with the collar flicked up was just kind of like, because he had like two polo shirts on with both collars flicked up and everything like that. And I feel like you wouldn't wear that working at the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
That
was the thing that came back when I was in high school. It was like kids would wear multiple polo shirts with the collars popped. Like I'm talking like 2 or 3 of them. Like so you would have like an array of colors going on. So but this is in high school. I don't think you would see that in the Smithsonian. Yeah,
it makes more sense for you see people like that character. I feel like is just in there to kind of be like, we're in the 80s. Remember, we're in the 80s. Where everything else seems like it could be in the modern time in that particular spot. In most of the other movie, except like costuming, really. I think I'm definitely higher on the movie than most people are, I think, too. And I think, like you said, a lot of the stuff is really cool in this movie. My biggest thing that I kind of noticed, though, like I do agree with you, Kristen Wiig's really good and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But her story's kind of played out a little bit at this point, with like the nerd becoming all powerful and it going to their head and stuff like that. Like I saw the comparison to Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3, and I'm like, yeah.
If I take my glasses off, am I no longer a nerd? Can I be like, you know what I mean? Does this make me sexy and cool now? Yeah, like it's such a weird, I don't know.
It's a weird dichotomy, and it definitely, I feel like that kind of helps it feel more 80s almost in a weird way, because that is like,
is that the
something
80s
that
mindset?
would come from an 80s movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I overall like the movie. I think there's definitely critiques to it for sure.
Yeah.
Which
overall it's a fun movie. Like it's still a superhero movie. I do like the idea though. I agree with you about Pedro Pascal being not the monster beat 'em up bad guy. Like it's not Abomination or Doomsday or Steppenwolf or, you know what I mean, like Dark Side, which I think we're getting in the Snyder Cut version, right? So
Oh yeah, we have that to look forward to this year too.
so he's not like he's not your CGI monster guy that you have to, you know, you need 15 super strong dudes to kill him. You have to like kind of play on his humanity, like, or fuck with his head a little bit. I totally agree with that.
And I think like, and for superhero movies generally being action movies, I think the way that Wonder Woman defeats Max Lord in this movie, I think is really great. And I think it is like shown great on film where she's talking to him and stuff like that. And like, I think the lasso of truth helps with that, where it's showing him the truth of what he's done and showing him his son and stuff like that and how badly he's messed up. And I think that helped. I think it's definitely cool to see something more so like this. I'd say the closest person we have to a villain like this in the MCU is Baron Zemo in Civil War. Kind of like the manipulator and stuff like that. But yeah, Pedro Pascal, I think, is the biggest breakout thing from this movie. Especially comparing it to The Mandalorian, where we've seen his face 3 times in it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, it's probably not even him in the armor.
It's somebody
it's probably
else.
just some stunt guy. But yeah, I think this movie is really, really good and a nice breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like Cheetah being kind of normal and stuff like that, or like being played out a little bit, my other thing that's kind of weird is the, like, with campiness in this movie, is the stone seems very campy, like it's out of the 66 Batman series almost. Because the way they show it with the wind flowing and like the light coming behind them and the way it's done, and magic is made to seem almost silly in this world, like to start off with, until Pedro Pascal starts using it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that bothered me a little bit. I'm like, okay, so this is going, but like, I think once you get past like the first 2 times it's used, then it gets better, because they're like, magic's happening, we don't have to show you it anymore.
Yeah.
It seems to oversimplify the way they show it the first couple times.
The use of magic is such a funny thing, but it's also something that, like, I feel like when everyone believes in magic at some point in time, right? That's almost easier to believe than a serum that makes somebody super strong, or the things like that are in the Marvel universe. But they don't really set it up in DC that like magic is like a big thing. Like that's like a real thing that people all believe in.
Right. I think there definitely should have been some more background to it in this film.
Mm.
But we got what we got, and I think for the very little they did with it, as cheesy as some of it was, I think they actually, like, for the amount of work they put into actually explaining it, I think they did a decent job with the execution. It's just the first couple times it did seem super cheesy to me. Where they're like, whoa!
Yeah, the light and then the hair blowing back is so fun. But it's not.
It seemed like an SNL sketch.
Yeah, it's very it's very fast too. It's not like a very gentle like a breeze. It's like someone blasts them.
Yeah, it doesn't have any subtlety to it. Yeah. I'm gonna see what else I wrote down in my notes. We haven't talked about Steve Trevor at all. I'm wondering what you think of Steve Trevor.
So when I was watching it, I didn't realize that other people saw him as a different guy.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up either.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was kind of confused. Like, I thought that when she sees him at that party, and it's like spinning, like the camera's like spinning around him, and it's that one guy, and then it turns into Chris Pine. I thought that it was like that guy had changed into Chris Pine, and now everyone sees him as
right.
And so the rest of the time, that's happening until the end when if you see that guy, right? She sees him at the party for what, maybe 2 seconds? Does she see him as Chris Pine, or does she always see him as that other guy? Because at the end, she knows who he looks like. She knows that guy by what he looks like.
I think that honestly, I think that it's tough to say because it's a weird sort of thing where they don't really explain it. They're just like, yeah, this guy turned into Chris Pine and now Steve Trevor's here.
Yeah.
And we get all into all these shenanigans, and then you have to renounce your wish and Steve Trevor's gone. And that sort of thing. I think it'd almost be cooler if the way they explained it was like the magic took over like Martian Manhunter or something like that. And he morphed into Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
So like that you actually get this Steve Trevor coming back and everybody knows it's Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
Except it's not really Steve Trevor, but it is. Which this movie I think didn't do the greatest job of explaining it, but I like that he's back. I think they could have done it in a cleaner way. But I like the way that they go, like all the plane stuff they do with him and Wonder Woman flying and that sort of thing is cool.
Yeah.
And the way she learns and stuff like that, the way he's inspired her and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I didn't read too much into. I know a lot of people were kind of like, "Oh, this is such a dumb way of doing this," or like, "How would he know how to fly that plane or whatever? 'Cause he's been dead," or shit like that. I didn't like when I'm watching a movie, and especially with this one, because I knew it was like, in my head, it's like, "Oh, this is supposed to be campy and like, the suspension of disbelief, all that." Like, I just go with it and I accept everything for what it is. So yeah, I thought that shit was fine too. Like I thought it was cool. I thought the plane being invisible was like, I forgot that was something that Wonder Woman like had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I totally forgot that was like part of her whole thing. So I thought that was cool, and then like, them flying through like the fireworks. Like that's just a cool visual. I thought that was cool.
Right.
Yeah, so
I think
I didn't really mind it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same sort of thing. And now talking about the movie, I believe that it's probably supposed to be viewed like an 80s movie, and that's kind of how it was planned to be made, is to be like an 80s movie where it has like the ugly girl becoming beautiful, the Freaky Friday sort of thing, or like where they switch bodies.
Yeah.
With Steve Trevor and that sort of thing. And I feel like now looking back on it, it's supposed to hark back to those types of films and pay homage to them. Which I think viewing it through that lens definitely makes the movie better. But a lot of people are viewing it as comparing it to Marvel or the previous Wonder Woman movie or the DCEU movie, stuff like that, which I think is probably an unfair comparison to make, especially with trying to make the movie the way they did. So I think even talking about this movie makes me think better of it. I don't know next time I go back and watch it if I'll feel the same way, but I think definitely talking about it, I feel higher on it now than I did before.
Yeah, exactly. Did you watch it on HBO or did you watch it in a theater?
I went to the theater and saw it.
What theater was open?
Geneseo.
Oh, no shit.
They're still open. They're still showing movies. It's only on the weekends and stuff like that, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I was so excited for it to come to HBO too, because it was the first 4K Dolby Atmos whatever movie on HBO. And so I got a new TV. I got an OLED. So I was like, okay, I'm buying a new TV, right? I had a Vizio 4K TV that I had bought right when 4K was coming out. So at the time it was like $1,000. And since then, like this is before HDR, and there was another thing it didn't have. But whatever. So like literally the following year, my TV was already outdated because HDR had become like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whatever. I'm sitting on it. And I wanted to get the Samsung one or the LG OLED TV, but it's like $1,600. It's like,
they're expensive.
Yeah, I was like, I can't swing or justify that much money on TV. So I got a Vizio OLED. from Best Buy around, I think it was like around Black Friday. It was on sale for like $900 or something.
Yeah, those ones just came out too. The Sony Vizio, or Sony Vizios, Vizio OLEDs just came out. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, so I grabbed it. Whatever. It's great. Like watching stuff in HDR, like 4K with a Dolby Vision. So like Dolby Vision is fucking sick. I had no idea like how clean and like real and like lifelike shit looks. Until you watch on like an OLED, it just totally changes the experience.
It does change everything. I don't have an OLED yet, but like I for sure want one.
Dude, it was a great investment for me. Like I'm planning to get at least another 7 years out of this one.
Yeah, until 8K becomes affordable.
Yeah, and by then fucking 32K will be the next thing, or a TV that you can fold like origami 100 times.
Oh my god!
Into like a little crane, and you know what I mean.
Do you have? I meant to ask you this. Do you have both the new consoles?
I have a Xbox. I think I couldn't get the PlayStation.
Gotcha.
I
I don't have any.
I tried so hard to get that stupid PlayStation when they announced it, and you remember like originally how it was like kind of fumbled, where they were like, "Oh, you'll know ahead of time when we're gonna put the pre-orders out," and it like that pre-orders came out that night.
Mm-hmm.
I had a PlayStation 5 in my cart on Target, and I went to go cash out, and it was gone. And so I went back, went to cash out again, it's gone. And so I was like stuck in this loop where I would have it in my cart, but I couldn't cash it out. So I never ended up getting it. Same thing happened when the Xbox, the day that came out, back and forth, and I finally got it. And I was like, I'm not even gonna like get excited because I don't know if this thing's gonna get canceled or if I'm ever gonna see it. But then it came, I got it. I was playing Cyberpunk for a little bit, but other than that, it's whatever.
Yeah, I feel like this generation there isn't too much of a jump.
No.
The biggest thing is load times is going to be the biggest difference. There isn't going to be graphics.
It does look cool playing stuff in HDR, which I never got to experience before. So like playing like Tetris Effect on my TV now, it's just like the whites are so fucking bright compared to everything else. It's like just pitch black. Like it hurts your eyes almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still have the X-Bone,
Nice.
VCR X-Bone.
Oh hell yeah!
that I'm playing. Yeah, that I'm playing stuff on.
VCR.
But I don't have too much time to play much anything.
Yeah, I've been playing Warcraft anyway, so it's.
You gotta hook that up to your TV and get playing.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. Holy shit. I said, do you want to rank Wonder Woman, or do you want to go into Tenet and then do both? Yeah, let's do it now.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman gets 2021's #1 movie.
Without a doubt.
Because we don't have anything else. 21 movie list.
How was it when you went to the theater? Was there a lot of people there? Or was it like you and
there was
3 other people?
There was 5 people total, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so and it's like social distancing and everything, but yeah.
Tight.
Yeah, so #1 on 2021. And then we have, for our all-time ranking list, we have, but before we do that, I just remembered we have HBO Max movies to rank.
Oh.
So we have at #2 for HBO Max, we have White Mile. And at #1 for HBO Max, we have Scoob. So where do you want to rank this on HBO Max?
Ooh, it's tough. I would put it up. Oh, damn it! I can make an argument for both, like above or below Scoob. I think I would put it above.
I think I'd put it above Scoob as well.
Okay. As
so
much as
Wonder
I love
Woman,
Scoob, like Yeah, it's got to go above.
Yeah, so now the ranking stands: number 3, White Mile; number 2, Scoob; and number 1, Wonder Woman, 1984. Now, where do we want to put Wonder Woman 1984 on our all-time ranking list? So, at number 10, we have Catherine Upside Down. Number 9, The Runner. Number 8, Conan the Barbarian. Number 7, White Mile. Number 6, Taxi Driver. Number 5, Prince of Persia. Number 4, Scoob. 3, Labyrinth. 2, Haunted Mansion. And 1 is Clue.
Ooh, this one's tough. What do you think?
I think it goes number 4. So it would go below Labyrinth but above Scoob.
I was kind of also thinking that. Yeah, 'cause I don't know if I liked it more than Labyrinth. But also, do I like movies? If I watch them more, do I like them? That's like my problem. Like, how do I? Because I've also seen Labyrinth how many times, right? Throughout my life. How many times have I seen Wonder Woman? But also, would I watch Wonder Woman the same amount of times that I've watched Labyrinth? Yeah, okay, so I put it below Labyrinth.
Okay, so that leaves. Once I get typed in, that makes it number 11, Catherine Upside Down. Number 10, The Runner. Number 9, Conan the Barbarian. Number 8, White Mile. Number 7, Taxi Driver. Number 6, Prince of Persia. Number 5, Scoob. Number 4, Wonder Woman 1984. Number 3, Labyrinth. Number 2, Haunted Mansion. And number 1, Clue. Now, we're moving from Wonder Woman 1984 to Tenet. So if you haven't seen Tenet, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. So go rent Tenet. Please rent Tenet. Come back, watch it, and watch us talk about Tenet. Join the discussion. If anybody wants to post questions or anything to us on Instagram or Twitter, we'll take audience participation. But if nobody wants to do that, that's fine too. We just like hearing ourselves talk. Now,
at the end of the day, yeah.
Now, it is time for Tenet. This film was directed by Christopher Nolan. It was released on August 12th, 2020. It had a budget of $205 million. Ricky, can you guess the box office?
Wait, what was the budget? 200?
$205 million.
I'm gonna say box office was 10 million.
Nope.
More or less?
More.
More than 10? 25.
More.
Really?
It was $362.6 million.
How?
That's the worldwide box office, so I assume China.
Oh. The fucking theaters are closed. How are people going to the movie?
So it made more than it spent to make, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
They probably still lost money on marketing and stuff like that, if I had to guess. But it's good that they made money. So, Ricky, what did you think of Tenet?
All right. So, last year, I got to go to the movie theater 4 times. Okay. 2 times in January. I saw 1917, which was dope. I saw Weathering with You. I think that was also... Yeah, Weathering with You, which is an anime movie, which just got added to HBO Max. Really cool. And I got to see Birds of Prey. And then
I still have never seen that movie.
Oh, dude, it's so good. And then Tenet. So we risked life and limb to go see Tenet. And the first time I watched it, I thought it was awesome. And I was like, this is fucking crazy, and this is exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted, like, the Nolan spectacle, like, heavy visual, like, CGI effects, and just to be, like, like, blown away by whatever was happening. The second time I got it on DVD when it came out. It's like, oh, this looks so cool on my TV. I can't wait to watch this. Yada yada. But I was like more focused on the story, I guess, and I felt like I was more focused on like trying to find like plot holes or things that were just like weird that didn't make sense to me. Which isn't normally how I watch movies, like I've said, or I don't know if people understand how I just like put it on to be mindless and like just to enjoy it. But I still think it's awesome. I think it's like a cool like spy-ish movie. Like it has the protagonist, like that's kind of like a douchey fucking name, but it's fine. Like it's cool.
I forgot when we started the podcast, I'd come up with a nickname for you before it, and I forgot it till like after I'd already said it, Boy Wonder. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna call Rikki the tertiary character.
Tertiary. But I think it's cool. I think it's fun. It's fun to watch. Like the story is kind of like confusing, and some of the things that happened are kind of hard to like wrap your head around. But I think the idea of like of a palindrome, but as a movie, is kind of cool. Like I think it's a cool concept. And also every time that I went to tell somebody about the movie, I would say, "Oh, what's that word that means something is spelled the same way forward as backwards?" And every fucking time I would say the wrong word. I wouldn't say palindrome. I'd say what's the other
pterodome from TMT?
Yeah, no, what's the word I'm thinking of? I would say the wrong word every fucking time, and then it'd be like, wait, that doesn't sound right, but I would just go with it. But I mean, it's cool. What did you think of it? You saw it in theaters too, right?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I saw it a couple weeks after you did, I think. Which I love this movie. I think it's in my top 3 Christopher Nolan movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how they'd rank out once I actually ranked them out, but the top 3 is comprised of Interstellar, Tenet, and The Dark Knight, which I think are his 3 best films for sure. I love this concept of the sci-fi and stuff like that. I think it's phenomenal, and I think it's the most solid time travel movie that we've seen. I think it's like the way it explores time travel is done in the way that my mind would think time travel is done. So that's why I like all in for it. I love the way they explain it with the bullet at the beginning and stuff like that, and the way he dropped it. Yep. And after I left the theater, like I was almost like a kid leaving the theater, where I was like, I feel like I could do that sort of thing, and different things like that, where it's like where you want to be in that world. And I think the movie as a whole is just, I think it's great, and I think a lot of people are critiquing it because they're like, oh, I want it to be as good as Inception, which I actually, hot take here, Rikki, right?
Oh,
it's a hot take.
Okay.
I think Inception's overrated.
Okay.
I think people make that movie way more complicated than it needs to be. I think like viewing it as a movie, you can tell like you can definitely tell it's a movie and stuff like that in the way that explores everything. And I think it's a cool movie, don't get me wrong, but I think people describe it as the best thing since sliced bread, and I'm like, it's a movie.
It's because the ending is so kind of like, it leaves you like, ooh, what could it possibly be? So because the ending is like that, you can apply that to anything that happens in the movie, right?
Right. Which I think is definitely, Christopher Nolan definitely plays off of that, like, ooh, what really happened? What's the case? Yada, 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 yada.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of thing, which I can appreciate as a film person and stuff like that. And like, there's definitely movies where I'm like, what really happened? What's the case? Yeah, like afterwards and stuff like that. But I think, with Inception, I'm not as high on it as a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it is a good movie and stuff like that, but I think it's overrated. People think it's just the greatest thing in the world, but I'd say go back and watch it again.
Okay. That's a hot take. Well, actually, no, it's
That's
not. That's a good take, I think. I don't think you're far off. I think people do really, they put a lot of emphasis into that because of that ending, because it is so open, well, not open-ended, but like kind of left to interpretation. Why can't that be applied to everything that happens in the movie? And that's exactly what happens. Is people do apply that to everything in the movie, and then all of a sudden it's, yeah, better than, oh, this meant this, and then the other person can be like, no, it didn't. It meant this, and then, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the discourse around the movie that helps build it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like a lot of people consider it one of Nolan's best films, which I think he's made better films than that. Because I haven't seen the Batman Begins in a long time, but I'd say probably my top 4, or at least like to start with, would be, like I said, Interstellar, Dark Knight, Tenet, and then go to Memento, and then I'm trying to think of probably Batman Begins next, but like I said, I haven't seen it in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and go down from there. I've also haven't seen The Prestige, so I can't really rank that in there.
That is one of my favorite movies ever. It's so fucking good, and especially
Yeah, a lot of people
if
seem to really like that.
If you can watch it with someone, even if you know what happens in the movie and you watch it with somebody else, and you can see their reaction to it, like that's something else. It's so cool to like, you know about it, like you know what happens. Yeah. I had that movie like as a DVD. Like it was like given to me. Like someone was like, "Oh, take this" or whatever. Had no idea what the hell it was about, and I just like popped it on or whatever. And I would watch it all the time. And then people that I like, like if I was dating somebody, I'd be like, oh, I'd bring it up, and if they had never seen it, it would be like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch this again, and to see how you react to it, because it is so fucking cool, and it is such a good movie. That might be my favorite one. I that one and Interstellar. I also like. Interstellar is also just fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to get like a gigantic TV and watch Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to find Interstellar in 4K, like the physical. Because you can rent it or buy it digitally, but I would rather have it.
Go to Walmart. I got Interstellar in 4K for like $15.
Really?
Yeah, Walmart has like a weird assortment of like cheap 4K Blu-rays that you can get between 10, 15, and $20. I think it was $15. It might have been 20.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's how I have it on 4K.
Oh fuck yeah, I gotta do that. Because that was another one. When I got my new TV, I was like, oh man, this looks so cool with like the HDR, and my whole thing with the OLED is like the black pixels are turned off, so there's no like, that light that kind of comes out. There's no backlight or whatever. So it's like, oh, this would look really cool with like space movies or movies that are like really heavy on CGI. I think it would look really cool. So that was one. That's one I've been looking for.
Yeah, like I said, I got mine at Walmart for like $15-$20. You probably can go to Walmart today and find it there, I'm guessing. But I could be wrong, because I bought it back in September or so. So maybe they aren't carrying it anymore, but
they jacked the price up to $25.
Yeah. So let's get back to, we got off on a tangent. Let's get back to Tenet, because there's so much to talk about with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we want to start with Tenet? Do you want to start at the beginning of the movie with the opera scene?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So cool.
Yeah.
So when I went and saw Birds of Prey, they showed that scene, like in its entirety.
Oh.
Yeah, like in like a preview. And when I watched that, I was like, oh, this looks fucking sick. Like, what the hell is this even about? Like, and that's kind of like the hype cycle for the Nolan movies, is always, what the fuck is happening? Like, what does this all mean? How could this, you know what I mean? So that was already, like, I was already really excited for it to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that just really solidified it. I think that opening scene is I don't know. It's so Nolan. I feel like with the sound and like the scope of it all, it just I don't know, it has a very unique feel to it.
Yeah, it's the same. It's almost the same way like the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises begins with like this poignant action sequence where like the bank's being broken into and stuff like that, and it's setting up this situation, and I think it does an excellent job doing it. And it's so cool to see this espionage thing from Nolan because we haven't really gotten too much of that. Granted, we got the dream espionage, but this is like real world, actual people and stuff like that, rather than some sort of sci-fi mixture, which it does get into. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it definitely gets into it heavy.
Yeah, but it's cool because they're trying to get this piece of tech and this one guy out of the opera house because they're going in with this not seem like a SWAT team, and then they leave and everything goes awry and he gets killed but not killed and then brought back to life and is given the code word of Tenet, which I think definitely the way the movie plays out, Tenet is a cool word to have be your palindrome and the way it plays out and stuff like that. And I know I said this when we first started talking about Tenet, but I love the whole bullet explaining scene and stuff like that, and the way it's explained as you're catching the bullet and everything's going backwards and you're reverse dropping it, so you're not like basically using the force. You're dropping it like the entropy is reversed. So instead of literally dropping the bullet, you're picking it up by dropping.
Yeah,
which is just such a cool concept to me, and I think as time travel, that is because it's basically a time travel movie, and I think that helps ground it in reality as much as time travel is like can be. The way that explained it is just I love that.
Yeah,
what did you think?
Instead of we gotta push the car to 88 to go back, like what if the object itself was going back, or like like it's a very it's hard to wrap your head around. But yeah, I agree that scene is really fucking cool. And just the way that it looks, like that was my whole thing was how does originally watching it and I'm sitting there with my mouth wide open in the theater just being like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, you're not shooting the bullet, you're catching it. It's like, this is such a bizarre thing to kind of like think about.
Yeah, which they have that scene like that like line in the trailer and stuff like that, but I think it's even cooler when he's like dropping the bullet and stuff like that and picking it back up, and when they show it in the camera and they reverse it.
Yeah, it looks
stuff like
same.
that. The way that's explained is, I think, is just so well done.
Yeah, and how they're like spinning it on the table and how it's like she's like pushing it, but it's like going the opposite direction. Like it's awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So how do you think that plays out? Jumping toward the end of the movie with the big, like battle scene.
I thought that scene was awesome, and how there's the two sides of the scene, and they have the different shipments of soldiers coming in and stuff like that, and explaining to them. And I think that scene looks so cool. I haven't gone back and rewatched it, unfortunately. I do have the movie, I just haven't rewatched it yet. But I think that's just it's so cool. I know a lot of people have problems like where they're like, what's going on? But I feel like it almost feels like they're attacking themselves, but they're not. Like from how they're showing the two different sides of it.
Yeah.
And then you don't really see like the guys that they're fighting except for the dude down in the cage. But I think that's just such a cool scene, especially with like showing the building blowing up and how they blow it up ways. So they take down like, it seems like this gunner tower and stuff like that where they're like picking people off from almost. So the way they knock that down and stuff like that is, I think that's really cool.
The things that I took away from that scene was like, yeah, that one tower with the rockets, how the one rocket is going in reverse, it puts the building back together. But then the next rocket hits the top of it, blows it back up. Like, how fucking cool. Like, that's just such a cool, I don't know, it's such a cool visual, and like as an idea, like what if we could do that sort of thing. And then another part with the buildings was when they show the building already exploded, but then the rocket comes out of it and it gets put back together, and that person gets like trapped in the building as it's being built. Like, oh, like that's oh, wow.
All of like the backwards violence and stuff like that, like specifically the scene where Kenneth Branagh shoots his wife is like terrifying, where he pulls the bullet back through her and stuff like that. I think Kenneth Branagh in this film is just terrifying. Like that scene, and then the other scene where he's telling her to like shoot him and stuff like that, where she pulled the gun on him. I think he's just terrifying.
Yeah, that dude is he's a really good bad guy, because like the first time you see him, you just see like a silhouette basically from the sun or whatever, and you're like, oh man, this dude is, he's the bad guy. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a different actor, someone who was like almost like a cameo, like it's somebody like really big name person, but I was also okay with who it is, because I think that dude does such a great job of playing this horrifying fucking dude who his whole thing is, if he can't have that girl, then no one can. Nope. But that also means no one's allowed to be alive.
Right, and then he, like, his whole thing is he can end the world whenever he wants, because he got the technology from the future, and it's like hooked up to his heart and stuff like that. So when he dies, everything ends, which is like terrifying.
That is a very similar concept in a little film that won the 1997 Special Effects Award of the Year or some shit. A little film called Spawn. The exact same thing happens, where it's the bad guy gets a pacemaker thing on his heart that's attached to all these nuclear bombs across the globe, so that when he dies, they would all go off and it would kill everybody. So I know what you're up to, Nolan. I've seen movies too.
Well, that brings us to another movie Nolan's seen in the Fast and the Furious movie, with the car heist they pull off in the middle of the film, where they're stealing the piece of tech from this armored car. And I think that scene's pretty cool too. It's not my favorite. It's definitely such a cool scene.
Yeah, that it does feel very. That's so. I didn't even think about that until right now. That is 100% Fast and Furious. So you have, hey, we need 2 dumpster garbage trucks. We need a fire truck, like the police cars. Yeah, that is such a cool scene. That whole highway scene thing is cool too, because I remember seeing that in the trailer and be like, what the fuck is happening? So
with the cars going backwards.
Yeah, so to finally give it the context is like, oh shit, this is kind of cool.
And then how they go back and do it that scene backwards too.
Yeah. So I do like that, how they do show you like, okay, this is how this is happening, but then when they get to the future, like the timeline future, they show you how the other side happens. Like I think my one of the things I love the most about the movie is when they go through the machine after she gets shot and stuff like that, and how all that stuff plays out, where they go backwards. I think that was my moment where I was like, holy shit, we're doing this. Yeah,
which I think was awesome. And then I think probably my favorite scene, and I feel like it's probably a lot of people's favorite scene, is the airport scene in this movie. That is just so cool, the way that's all planned out and stuff like that, where they have to hold their breath because the gas comes out. So, like, if there's a fire, and how they have the plane crash into it. And I think that whole sequence, especially with the going backwards and stuff like that, and the fact that both of the protagonists, both of them are fighting, is the protagonist as he's going through one and then goes out the other and stuff like that. And I think that whole scene is really cool, and it's really like messed up, like watching it, trying to figure out what's going on, stuff like that. How one's going one way, one's going the other way.
Yeah,
it's so cool to see.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. And it is kind of hard to like wrap your head around it to be like, oh, this is how. Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah, it's forward, it's backwards, whatever. I agree with that scene. It's fucking cool. And when I watched it again, it's like, how much did it cost to fucking crash that plane? Right? Or how could they make that manageable? Because it doesn't look CG at all. Like, it looks very practical.
Nolan doesn't really use any CG. He's big on practical stuff, so I have to imagine that flew an airplane into a hangar.
Yeah, so
they might have done it on miniature scale or something like that, but still.
Yeah, but it looks so good, and that's such a cool and like horrifying idea of like, what if I took a giant ass plane and crashed it into a building?
Yeah, and the same thing goes for how like they dump the gold out of it and stuff like that to create the distraction.
Yeah.
And how they have to run through the one thing and basically get pulled out the door. How the one dude does, you think he dies, but it's him going the opposite direction. I think is really cool how all that's done.
When I saw the movie in the theater, and when they showed those two dudes fighting, and the one guy's going backwards, and he's like obviously got the whole get up on, you can't tell who it is. I was kind of like, I think I know, I think that he's fighting himself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who he was fighting. I thought Robert Pattinson saw himself, and that's why he let the guy go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, they're fighting themselves, which it's cool because they kind of like, he gives you a little bit like, here's the concept, and all of a sudden now they're fighting this dude who seems to be moving backwards. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But then as they keep sprinkling on a little bit more like information, and it totally makes sense, and you could easily guess it from the jump, like, oh, they're fighting themselves, yada yada yada.
The one thing I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this film is Robert Pattinson. He is so cool, and I think it feels like they use him the perfect amount where it doesn't feel like he's on screen much as a side character, but you don't miss him when he's not there. And I think that's like the best way to describe it, because it feels like you want more and more of that character, but it also feels like they give you enough of that character too.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, but yeah, that does make, he is in there like the perfect amount, because he's not, because the focus is still on the protagonist and like it's still his story. But then once the same thing, they're giving you these little sprinkles of Robert Pattinson until the end, and then when he's like, oh, our story's just beginning or some shit, and you're like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like,
yeah,
like they had
that's such a cool
the future or whatever.
Yeah, that's such a cool thing where he came back and then went the other way. And it's, for him, it's the end of the line. For protagonist, it's just the beginning. It's such a cool concept.
Yeah, because there could be another.
Granted,
they could have a whole nother movie that's just their story of it's like a buddy cop movie. Christopher Nolan presents a buddy cop movie in the Tenet universe.
They have the family barbecues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson's great in this movie, and I think he's just been on a tear of great movies, and I'm so excited for Batman.
Yep.
And I think the only thing I don't like about what they do with that character in this movie is the way the backpack is shown, because you kind of, after when you see that guy get shot and killed and stuff like that, when he opens the door, you kind of figure who it's going to be, that it's going to be him that does that. But I think the way they kind of explain it afterwards is a cool way to pay it off.
Yeah, so even in the beginning, they make a mention. Well, not make a mention, but they make a point to show that little backpack thing, that little backpack hanger. And the first time you watch the movie, you would never even think about it. Like, there's just so much that's happening, but it's definitely for the second viewing where you go, oh shit, it was him the whole time.
Yeah,
he's great, dude. He's so, they're both so fucking good. Like,
yeah, John David Washington's awesome in this movie too. Yeah, I think John David Washington definitely has a bright future ahead of him too, because he was in Black Klansman as the main character in that, and then I don't know what else he's got coming up, but I think he's going to be in some good stuff too.
He's going to be in some movie with Zendaya. I just saw the trailer for it. I think it's something about I can't remember what the hell it's called. I think it's an
Is it In New Heights?
No, it's
No.
like in black and white. It's like a marriage movie or something. Love and
Oh!
Marriage or something.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Then that looks incredible too, because I love both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's this one scene in that movie, or in Tenet, that this one line that he says, it fucking kills me. It's he goes to dinner with the art woman, and they're talking whatever, and then her husband's Goonies show up, and they take her out, and they take him into the kitchen, and I laughed in the theater, and I laughed at home when I fucking watched it. They bring him into the kitchen, and they're all standing around him, and he's like, I ordered my hot sauce over 10 minutes ago, and then they start fighting. But it's like, what the fuck? It's such a fucking weird line to say. Like, I don't know. That got me. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. This movie, like, to me, watching it in theaters, I'm like, this is definitely feels like Christopher Nolan's, like, audition for a Bond movie. Like, that's what it felt like.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, that proved that he can fucking do it. And we already knew he could do it.
Yeah, I love all the espionage stuff in this movie, and especially that kitchen fight scene is really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
With all the hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that, because that's all everybody's going in the forward direction, so it's all like that stuff. But the thing that got me where I was like, ugh, is the cheese grater, where he's like has it on the dude's face,
yeah,
over it. It's like that has to hurt, like it's just so much.
Have you ever cut yourself with a cheese grater?
I don't know if I've ever caught myself with a cheese grater, but like
back in the day, I took off part of my thumb with a cheese grater. Like it's always if I ever cut myself while cooking, it was on my thumbs. So we were grating cheese, like this big ass block of cheese, and I'm doing it all fucking day. And then you're just sitting there grinding, and I come down, and it like clips like this side of my thumb. It just like completely takes a chunk out of my nail and a chunk out of my thumb. And it's that's like wrecked because there's fucking blood everywhere. So, so to get that on your face,
yeah,
that's not good.
Imagine if that person had like a nose ring and it got caught on there and it ripped through their nose too. Ugh.
When my nose, sometimes there's like a space in the ring because I had to push it together or whatever. But sometimes I'm drying my face, like if the towel has like a run in it and it'll like a thread, it'll catch it, and sometimes it'll get caught in there and it'll fucking yank on it. Oh my god! Immediately your eyes start watering and then your nose hurts the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Ooh. Of all the dramatic and like hyper violent things that happen in movies, I like how that is the one where I'm like, that's a bridge too far. Cheese grater.
Yeah, there's certain just weird things that are like just everybody's like, no, that's not okay. Yeah. Like the other thing that I can think of is in Home Alone with the nail on the stairs is Marv's going up and he steps on it. That one like grosses me out too.
Or in the second one where he fucking gets electrocuted and he turns into a skeleton.
I haven't seen that second one in a long time.
Oh, I love it. That's so fucking funny. All right. Anything else? You want to put this on the old ranking?
Yeah, why don't we rank it? Because I think we covered everything. I think Tenet was our most thorough movie today.
Mm-hmm. It's a fucking good movie.
So we can't really rank Tenet on anything other than the 2021 movie list and the all-time rank. So for 2021, Ricky, where do you think Tenet should land?
I would put
We've got Wonder Woman at number 1.
I would put that at number 1.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. Tenet is going to be number 1 for our 2020 movie list, which is exciting. Now we have 2 movies in 2021. But this is the real tricky part, is where are we going to put this on our all-time movie rankings? So number 11, Catherine Upside Down. Number 10, The Runner. 9, Conan the Barbarian, 2011. Number 8, White Mile. Number 7, Taxi Driver. Number 6, Prince of Persia. Number 5 is Scoob. Number 4 is Wonder Woman 1984. Number 3 is Labyrinth. Number 2 is Haunted Mansion. And number 1 is Clue. Ricky, where are you feeling like we should put this movie?
Ooh. I like it more than Clue for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like different, like updated reasons, but I like Clue a lot because I think that's, I don't know, the accessibility of it and like.
Clue's a very special movie.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Like, that might be if we had, the most special movies list of all time, it would just be Clue, because it is such it is very special, and so it's hard.
I feel like, nostalgia aside, I feel like Tenet is like the better movie. But like factoring in nostalgia is where it gets hard, because Clue is a special movie.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about it. And it's our number 1 on there currently for a reason. So it's tough to say where Tenet falls on there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think nostalgia aside, I think Tenet is a better movie. So I'm good with number 1. I think that's
Number 1.
It's a well-deserved number 1.
I'm right there with you. I'll put Tenet number 1 too. So let's start off 2021 movie list. We put Tenet at number 1 to throw in Clue. So it goes number 1, Tenet. Number 2, Clue. Number 3, Haunted Mansion. Number 4, Labyrinth. Number 5, Wonder Woman 1984. Number 6, Scoob. Number 7, Prince of Persia. Number 8, Taxi Driver. Number 9, White Mile. Number 10, Conan the Barbarian 2011. Number 11, The Runner. Number 12, Catherine Upside Down.
Do you want to, going forward, do like the top 10 of all time, or do you want to keep it top 10 all time of the length of our thing? Because it would suck if you get to week 25 and you got to rattle off 25 movies when we know those last ones haven't really changed.
I think what we should do is we should rank or like rattle them off. We should keep the whole list. Okay. But depending on how good the movie is, rattle off different sections of our all-time list.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
So if it's a bad movie, we rattle off ones from the bottom, decent, the middle, and then excellent is we rattle off the top movies on.
Good idea. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this way you're not, saying the same list every week, and it's,
Yeah, it definitely got longer with us adding more movies on.
Yeah, it was.
That's
yeah,
for
it was fine when there was like 4 movies on there. But shit, now we got 12.
Yeah, we got lots of movies, lots and lots of movies, and lots of cover. Because next week we've got Basic Instinct, which is on Netflix. So everybody that has a Netflix account, feel free to watch Basic Instinct. Come back next week and join in our conversations. If you have any comments or anything you want to add onto the show, either leave it in the comments of this video, or you can find me on Twitter at Starroom Studios, or Instagram, both on Starroom Studios as well as Howard AK88. And if you want to contact Ricky about anything with our shows, anything he said, get mad at him about how Cheetah is a cat from Cats, you can find him at
Ritz Khalifa with a Z. I'm thinking about changing my name. So I've had Ritz Khalifa as my like handle for almost the entirety that I've had Twitter, which has been 10 years. But I'm thinking about changing it. And
what do you think about changing it too?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's because, like, obviously it's not my name. It's more of, it was like, because there was like a tweet that was going around that was like, explain your handle. And I didn't do it because I'm like, I'm not fucking trendy. I'm not going to jump in on this. But I thought about it. And so, like, it comes from, Ritz was like a nickname that I have had, where our whole thought process behind jokes was like word association and like changing that person's name just slightly. So like my thing was always like, it was like Ritz or Reggie or Reg. Like, it's just like variations of these things. And so a girl I used to date, like, I don't know, called me Ritz a couple times, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. And so I used that. But then the Khalifa came from Wiz Khalifa and Mia Khalifa. And so at the time I was like, oh, that's so fucking funny, like Ritz Khalifa, and I put them together. But now I'm starting to think, like, what if someone's actually named Ritz, or their last name is actually Khalifa, and I'm just kind of like taking that, and then, or what if, because Khalifa, like the Burj Khalifa, I think that's like Middle Eastern stuff. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm using that as a joke, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. But I was thinking about changing it to just like Ricky Online or Rick Online or something like that.
Well, you might be able to get Rikki Ettinger just straight up, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird too, because like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just change my legal name to Ritz Khalifa, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah, you won't feel guilty anymore.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just my name. Like, what the fuck?
Just say that on your driver's license.
It just says McLovin. But yeah, if everybody out there wants to contact me about, well, I don't care, whatever, hit me up at Ritz Khalifa, Twitter and Instagram. Oh, and Twitch. I mean, I haven't streamed in forever though.
No more TikTok for Ricky.
Nah, TikTok's out. I don't really ever go on Instagram, as you know, because like it takes me forever to respond because I don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.